Hi, and welcome to Talking Philosophy. Today, we're going to talk about one of the great issues of philosophy, free will. Now, to be blunt, I'm not particularly convinced there is any such thing. My whole investigation into free will really emerged out of having lunch with a friend in a Roy Rogers restaurant in Washington, D.C., if you can believe it. We were there, we're eating our hamburgers, and a particularly lovely young woman walked in with, bright red hair and that porcelain white skin redheads are famous for. And I turned to my friend and gestured that he should take a look. And he looked at her and he said, I always wanted to fall in love with a redheaded woman. But he never did. He hadn't to that point, and he never did. So far as I know, haven't seen him in a few years, but up to that point, he had never fallen in love with a redheaded woman, despite the fact he said that he wanted to fall in love with a redheaded woman. He could not choose to fall in love with a redheaded woman. Well, if you can't choose who you fall in love with, then what can you choose? I mean, there's so little, actually, you can choose. I recall once in an argument with a young man, very diminutive fellow, maybe 10 inches shorter than I was. And in the course of talking, he was absolutely, free will. I can do anything I want. All I have to do is put myself out there and I can work hard and I can do anything I want. And I looked at him and I said, well, when you've grown 8 inches, come back and see me. Well, that was kind of cruel and kind of rude, but it's also true. You can't choose to grow 8 inches one night. Any more than you can choose to dunk a basketball all of a sudden, or any other number of things that you would like to think have something to do with free will. So why are people so hung up on free will? Well, I know of two reasons, and I want to talk for a moment about both of them. The first is they have this notion that free will is tied to moral responsibility. Now, this is an idea that most people have inherited, or knowingly or not, from Immanuel Kant, whose notion of autonomy plays a large role in most people's moral thinking. Kant has two requirements for autonomy. The first is that you're acting out of your own volition, out of free will. The second is that you're rational. This way, persons who are being forced to do something aren't considered responsible. Persons who don't have complete mental capacity aren't considered responsible. And this is what he's looking to influence us on this matter of free will. But it misses an important element, and I submit to you the most important element, and that is the element of causation. We must be the cause of the event. Let me offer a couple of illustrations. The first is something that anybody who's watched football very much is well acquainted with. You're watching the game and you're watching with a friend or two, and you turn to them and say, what they ought to do is run on the left side off tackle with number 39. And on the very next play, they run off tackle on the left side with number 39. They ran the play you chose. Now, were you responsible for that? I mean, you chose it. You chose it freely. You chose it rationally, but you're not responsible because you aren't part of the causal chain. You are not what caused that play to come into action. Try a different example. On the sideline, the offensive coordinator is signaling in plays to the quarterback. So the offensive coordinator holds up 2 fingers on the right hand, 5 fingers on the left hand, which signifies that the players should run a fly pattern. Now, what he meant to do, if you don't know what a fly pattern is, the fellow on the outside, the wide receiver, runs just as fast and as far downfield as he can, and then the quarterback throws it to him when he's down there. Now, what he meant to do was hold up a 2 and a 5, okay? Not a 5 and a 2, but a 2 and a 5, which was to signify a slant pattern, which is a shorter pass thrown over the middle of the field, not down the sideline like the fly pattern, okay? So He's sending the signal. The quarterback runs the play that the signal is supposed to indicate. They score a touchdown. Everybody runs over, congratulates the offensive coordinator on his brilliant call. But because of our notion of the role of choice, he says, oh, I'm not responsible for that. The interesting thing, I think, though, is this. Had the play, instead of being completed, say, been intercepted, not only is it quite likely that the offensive coordinator would have said, oh, that's my responsibility, I screwed up. He would have been held responsible by the coach and quite likely fired. Why? Not because of the choice, because that didn't change. The choice did not change between the completed play and the uncompleted play. That isn't what's important. What's important is, what did he cause to happen? When he caused a good thing to happen, nobody wanted to penalize him for it, and he was unwilling to take credit for, in fact, something he did. But he would be willing to accept the penalty for something he didn't choose. See, I think a big part of it is about not responsibility. It's about blame. It's about, who can I fault? Let's take one last example. If my parents had gone away for the weekend and came home, and when my mother opened the door to the house and she took a big whiff, she'd go, oh, who's responsible for changing the cat litter? Now, she's not asking who freely chose to clean the cat litter, because nobody freely chooses to clean cat litter. I mean, not really. I mean, you have to do it because who can live with that smell? But it's not something you say, hey, you know what I'd like to do today? I'd like to go change some cat litter. That's what I want to do. No. What's being asked here is, who is supposed to make the cat litter clean? And we're going to penalize them because they did not make the cat litter clean. Not because of their choice, but because of what they made or failed to make happen. Causation is what makes responsibility, not choice. Now, the other thing that seems to worry people about free will is God. Well, let's be clear. The argument from evil for the non-existence of God. If you're not familiar with it, runs basically like this. If God is all-loving, all-knowing, and all-powerful, and if he wishes well for us, then how can there be evil in the world? There is evil in the world, so how could there be an all-knowing, all blah, 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 blah? Okay, now one of the ways this problem gets answered, one of the responses that are supposed to save the day and make God continue to exist, is to suggest that it's the people and their free will that bring evil into the world. God wants worshipers who have a free choice between being good people and bad people. As if these were the only choices, good people and bad people. Well, they are the only choices, apparently, because that's all that we've been given by God. Now, why is that? Well, you can't have good without having evil. You have to have choices in order to have free will. If you don't have choices, you don't have free will. You don't have free will, you're not the kind of worshiper God's looking for, the kind of creation God wanted to make. Well, let me suggest that that's not quite true, that you could have choices without having to have choices that are only extremes. Let me tell a story. When I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, I had a motor scooter. I loved to ride my little motor scooter around on all the little back roads of Davidson County and the surrounding counties. So imagine we're out riding one Saturday afternoon and we're putting along, and we come to an intersection. Getting to be lunchtime, we want to eat. At this intersection, on one corner, there's a gas station. And the other three corners have little local diners, little mom and pop restaurants, not chains, They're local. They draw on the local environment for their food. So we are going to pick between one of these three restaurants to eat. So we park our bikes. We walk up to the first one on the one corner, and it says, well, here's the menu. I'll let you see for yourself. Now, we walk across the street to another restaurant, and it's got exactly the same menu. We go to a third restaurant, and it has exactly the same menu. Okay, let's call that first restaurant Mom's. And at Mom's, they serve Wagyu beef hamburgers with Coke products to drink and mashed potatoes as your potato side. Now, over at Pop's, the second choice restaurant, remember, same menu, hamburger, cola, potato. Same menu, same price. I don't know how they can get away with it either, but same menu, same price. But at Pop's, Pop's serves ground sirloin, maybe with some oatmeal thrown in it for some filler. He's got Pepsi products instead of the Coke. He's got baked potatoes instead of the mashed. Still the same three ingredients, still the same menu entry. We'll go across to the last place, call it Joe's. And at Joe's just has, ground chuck with French fries and RC Cola. Okay? Now, they've all got exactly the same menu. It's ridiculous to say that you don't have a choice because every one of those is going to be a real different flavor experience, eating experience, the whole thing. It's different, but it's still in the same family. It's still the same thing. We have choice. If we have choice, we have free will. Now, we can only choose between the same family of activities, the same family of dining experiences. But we haven't lost our free will. So why couldn't we have only good choices to make? Why must there be evil choices? It's not like you can't tell the difference between eating at Pop's and eating at Joe's. You've ever eaten those hamburgers, both, you'll know the difference. You go over to Mom's, you'll know the difference again. Now, here's a funny thing. You may like eating at Mom's, I may like eating at Joe's. But we're still eating hamburger, potatoes, Coke. We're both doing the right thing, the good thing, because we're going to call that the family of good things. That menu is the family of good things. It's different good things, but they're all good things. I may like this one, you may like that one. Doesn't make either of them less good. Doesn't make either of them evil, unless we're just going to turn evil into what I like versus what you like. I don't think you want to do that. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Because then I like killing small children. We don't want to say, oh, well, that's good. No, we don't. We want to have standards for good and evil. But we could simply say that while there's a difference between good and evil, I don't have to have evil choices in order to have free will. I can have a range of good choices to choose between. Now, of course, you can't save God from the problem of evil, but there's other ways of trying that, so don't let that worry you. All I'm trying to do here is get you to think about basically three ideas. One, that the much cherished concept of free will may mean nothing at all. Two, that even if it does exist, you don't really need it for responsibility. What responsibility really needs is causal force. And if you're not the causal force, then you're not responsible. And if you are the causal force, then regardless of your choice, you're responsible. And lastly, that Free will not save God. There are other ways of doing it, perhaps, but just giving human beings free will won't do it, because you can have free will without having to have the choices only be between good and evil. All right. Hope to keep on talking philosophy. Hope to see you next time. Some people have asked about Patreon. I do have a Patreon account. If you go to patreon.com/talking philosophy, and that's all one word, talking philosophy, you'll see there's a spot where you can donate to the cause. If anybody does donate, I've got some animations I'd like to try to put into some of these things, and I'll probably hire somebody to do it. I'd love to draw it myself, but it takes more work than I want to put out. I don't have all the skills. And for very little, you can get pretty good animation out there. Anyway, if that's something you want to look at, go ahead and look at it. If you're looking at this on my Facebook page, it's also available on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search Talking Philosophy, Anthony Adams, and you'll probably get it in the first or second choice. Also, if you're looking at this on YouTube, you can find it on my Facebook page. It's also, of course, on the Patreon page, too. Thanks for coming by. Looks like about every 8 to 10 days, I'm going to be getting out one of these. I already know what my next one is. So hope you'll be back for that. Hope you enjoyed today's talk. Please leave any messages you want and any of the comment available to you, whichever place you've come to look at this at. Or you can even email me directly at educatingadams, that's all one word, educatingadams@gmail.com. Okay? Okay. Keep talking philosophy.